Welcome back to my lovely HP community as we conclude our day, the perfect number, free. So, here's where we'll be continuing our new year with all of what we've been uncovering in this past year. As always, the HP community is a community that I build on YouTube, but also the other podcast platforms and stuff like that. But really, it's people who resonate and come together and who are smart brains. And if you didn't tune into the other episodes, you can. You don't have to. But what I'm going to let you in on, fun fact, sciences and spirituality works really well together for the smart brains. And that's mystics included, which is why when I say that my guides, my downloads, my Maria, have equal information. So my lovely neuroscience, mental health, yep. And then my own relationship, my very basic relationship with God, Holy Spirit, and Jesus, since I'm honoring Jesus. And I actively did begin life this way. I never thought I'd get clairs. When I got them, I'm like, yeah, this is a joke. No, I didn't. I said, it's my human makeup. And that's where we're going to begin. So when I meet 4D, what they will tend to have is ego. And that's men, women, theys. When I say masculines, feminines, it has nothing to do with gender. In my case, for my oversoul, I will know who my masculines are and who my Maria, my 3-year-old stuff, yeah, mine, but they're not mine. Okay, so the empowered feminine, I'll reiterate some of the messages in case you did not tune into any of them. I have lovely short little sentences. The feminine, number 1, she respects free will and leaves masculines and feminines to choose their path. That's the 5D state of consciousness, Christ consciousness. We don't do stories, we have sound, vibration, vibrate, yeah, that stuff. Also, Robert Sapolsky, No Free Will, Thank You, Determined is his book. I haven't read it yet. It's qualitative in its analysis. However, my 3-year-old brain does rule me. So, he's not wrong at all. And when someone says, fun and hard to believe in my first 2 years, I'm like, yeah, I know that they don't know the importance of going to Patrick Teahan to get therapy, or Dr. Daniel Siegel, or Dr. Daniel Fox to completely continue to go to therapy until you are completely integrated in an empowered feminine's body and brain, meaning you're a human being because the feminine is your body. If you have your emotional body not empowered, then you sound like a Zen master who says, I have laundry, and thinks that he can bear the title with honor of Zen master. There's no honor in that Zen master. You still use your temporal junction. Now, hold on. Maybe science is right. Maybe it's in my genes. Maybe I got lucky with my DNA. What do we think, huh? And there's grounded in reality. Look, sciences can prove me right or wrong. So can spiritual. No, you can't do the right or wrong with spirituality. God was very straightforward. Don't play me. Which is exactly why I respect, as a Christian Catholic, the fact that nobody wants to play God. So when people hear the word divinity, they think we're trying to say that we're divine, which I get where they're coming from, because I have heard people use that word that way, and there's your spiritual ego people. Then I've also heard non-empowered feminines continue with, again, let me get on screen with my dark side because I finally stood up to the mean whatever. Do you know what? This is the unfortunate truth. The whole getting up, your first 3 years of life, someone made you feel so helpless and powerless and feeling that's not that simple. It is that simple. Imagine a 3-year-old, imagine a 1-year-old. I can't do that. Oh, and when you say I can't, this is the part where if you immediately say you can't, then you aren't trying. I will try, for example, when somebody says you're stupid, and it's because I can't figure something out that they actually find common sense, and that's why I don't take offense. And I'm like, no, but maybe I am. Can you try explaining it to me one more time? And I will ask. I have learned as I got older that grown-ups apparently don't like to answer questions. I'm going to give you an example. The loved ones that know me so well, we love each other, like Sid, Manny, Diego, and Patras and Cusco's. There's no ismas. None of us actually talk down to any of us. We just have a great sense of humor. So my loved ones, they know my brain. And this one time, a bunch of them told me about this awesome show. And it's a grown-up who asks stupid questions. And they knew I would love it because that's exactly how I ask questions. And I'm not kidding. I'm a 3-year-old. So when I'm watching this, but before I began watching it, they told me that all of the people that are experts got told, hey, this is a show. So please, answer the questions. And I said, that's not nice. So the experts don't have the patience to answer some grown-up who might be asking a question that doesn't sound like you really care about being an expert, huh? So that's my reaction immediately is I don't like you. Now I know you're pretending. I'm still going to have fun with the show because I get to hear about interesting questions. And I don't care if you think they're stupid because so what? I'm stupid. What do you want? I have a brain that doesn't see something. So the point is, you don't have shame when you actively have no shame. I can't explain it better than this. And there's no way in hell that I can be envious, jealous, or spiteful because I have a twin. And that's why determined, come on in. I can give you the scientific explanation to all of this eternal child within me. And then I have God, who I love to death. But again, I know that there are people who I grew up with who don't see me as a Christian or a Catholic because I'm a Reiki master, and some theologian decided that his qualitative analysis with ancient textbooks actually is something valid versus knowing and noticing. Did I just disrespect an entire group of energy healers because I don't like that they exist on the other side of the planet and they use different words? Am I that dumb? Because see, to me, I respect all sciences, for heaven's sake, but theologian grabbing a book and telling people that Reiki is bad, and now knowing that there's Christians out there who tell their, so I make sure to respect people. I say, look, Christianity, some of them, they will be very angry, so just make sure you understand. They think, some of them, the ignorant ones, that they own the Holy Spirit and energy, apparently. But I will respect, as a Reiki practitioner, so I'll inform you that there are people within the institutions that will look down upon you. You can make your own choice. I will not look down upon anyone except for, wow, you just disrespected an entire heritage and you think that you have validity. Like, you actively get on screen. The ones who tell me about conspiracies, please leave that to the side. Here's what an empowered feminine, I have a political science background. Do not bring that is a sore. That's a very sore one for me. There's a reason for that one. I'll share stories. So remember in one of our episodes, I told you how I chose not to do drugs? Yes, besides knowing that they're bad for you from the grown-ups who taught it to me, I also said, I want to do something when I grow up that makes a difference in the world. And I thought that the people in positions respected the laws that they implement. Go figure, huh? And people will say, oh, you're so naive. Am I now? I'm going to say that I'm a person with integrity and the only one who doesn't understand that a profession is something that I think if you take on a title, don't you want to represent it effectively? So if you are selling the law and you disrespect it, you're not a good lawyer. Now, the ones who liked to tell me evil always wins, which is a boring ass tale, again, there's no Lucifer to blame for trauma. There's actual trauma. Just FYI, this is the one thing. You don't like it? Oh, I'm so sorry. Again, I have people who tell me neuroscience is an opinion. Not really, but again, who am I to share anything, stupid lady, huh? So, empowered feminines are channeled guidance, very different than the distorted feminine, and they're all masculines, as I was mentioning. And I love all the empowered masculines and feminines, and I love the distorted ones too. I just mind my own business as they walk around with shame, bow down to masters that don't know what they're talking about, and then think that Reiki actually is a bad energy, or that Akash, or that tarot, or that yoga brings demons, versus learning from smart human beings who can explain to you what's happening in your body. And anybody who's smart enough and objective enough and cares enough about their self will hear the words and the explanation and the descriptions, and then they will say, shit, I need therapy, like, for a while, if they're smart. Stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, have an ego that they can say, yes, ego, I know, it is personal, but it's not personal that way. It's personal in the way of, let me go and get my empowered feminine online, because I have an emotional plane and I want it connected, and I'm okay with the fetal position. And I'm okay with working with a smart therapist. And I'm okay with the human beings who know all personality disorders are healable, not the ones who twist their words and say, I just reviewed all of my recent colleagues' studies and see, it's proven narcissism is not healable. But my colleagues, they're all against me. So the minute you see this, I'm fighting a lonely, lonely battle. There's your teenager, because guess what they want? Eee, applause, applause. Let's cheer each other on. And anytime a 5D mystic, empowered feminine, sees that, I need to leave right now. I need to go. Oh, I'm lucky. I don't have that. It's only YouTube that gets me to be able to be in this place because I don't have a herd that's like that. No, I don't. I have a herd that is very different. I picked my herd. That's me. That's the selective me. Oh, remember, so my immediate herd, no. I mean, my family's my family. Don't touch my family. I'll be able to stand up for my own self because I'm a whole 3-year-old heart, you see? Again, oh, I don't stand down. I stand up. I got taught how to stand back because every time I'd stand up, okay, you use your tone better. Use your tone better. Use your tone better. So that's the part about the channeled guidance, the distorted feminine, masculine, 3D, 4D, yeah, they all will have ego. So they don't notice their inconsistencies. In fact, they will actively make you aware of how they will change their mind and they will change their belief and they will change this and that. I just recently saw a bunch of them using that because, again, when you spot the liars, I have facade friend, remember? I'm going to use my facade friend. So my facade friend, and they're all like this. All of the people who don't take their feminine seriously and become their reparented version or just didn't need to. I was reading 2 sentences. So again, we respect free will. So I learned in my own business when I meet masculines and feminines who are disempowered, not wanting to be healthy self-worth. It's why I don't date any of them at all. They're emotionally unavailable, and that means they don't know romance. They don't know how to stick around. They don't even know how to take ownership about their own mouth. I will take ownership. And if I forget what I say you know what? I forgot. But I want to talk about it. That's how I'll handle. Anybody can bring me whatever they want. You just try me. You can try me. No, actually, that's not true. I'm sorry. It's if I want you in my herd that I'm going to allow myself to pause and try to make sure that we can be on the same page. And if we can't, and you get that, I now know, thanks to my facade friend, that I will respect every single one of those human beings who don't like me, who I would have loved to have in my herd. Because, being rejected is not protection. That's where the distorted feminine, which are masculines, which are people who bow down to shame, which are people who bow down to any leader, which are people who have not securely attached. There's your 1-year-old. And I will always know who you are because it'll be the tone that'll give it away, and it'll also be the way you handle any type of engagement with me. Now, when I get passive aggressive, they're not passive aggressive. When I get manipulative, they're not manipulative. I don't fall for the 714 charming. You see, I actually spot them and make fun of them with you all. Peter Pans. All they got, lost boys. So, forever growing, good luck. Yes, we have our own wheel of fortune. I love Dharma. Dharma is so awesome. Self-worth and love are too. And spreading joy and kindness. Well, it's not necessarily kindness for those who don't like to hear the truth. They'll be like, I found it hard to believe. Again, my first 3 years of life. And they will disregard every single bit of good trauma experts that say, hey, if you want, like the little choo-choo train, you can make it over the hump. I'm the one who's sharing that. So Christmas cheer, a brighter future. It is. Thank you, therapist. And thank you, all smart scientists, because I would not be here without you. Thank you, God. But God already knows what I know, is that it's not enough to believe without seeing. Because there's a bunch of people who follow the ones who tell you that people like me are not good people. And then they're the ones who believe it. So, again, it's a sad story. The not securely attached human being. The not bilaterally integrated human being. The human being who uses half a brain and says, excuse me, you're confusing science and spirituality. The ignorant human being who doesn't even recognize as you get older that you're not getting any more interesting in your brain because you really don't know how to be in the conciliant approach, which is instead fabulous. And I'm a successful online entrepreneur who wants to network with smart brains, not the stupid ones and not the ones who are cheering each other on. I cannot stand when I see that crowd. Oh my gosh. I mean, really, it's not that I can't stand it. It's that you're all not yet independent. All I need to do is take that leader out and oh my gosh, now we've got shit going down and you're going to have 2 sides of a coin. I've seen them do it. In one case, they say they were under a spell. They've been brainwashed because of the man they were with. And on the other end, they're like, how dare she? How dare. And I'm like, okay, come on. You don't know Patrick McNamara. She had what was a moment of truth. A moment that could have opened up her eyes. A whole new world, a magic place. Yes, but she doesn't know how her brain works. And guess what she did know? So, decentralization of the self is not confusing to the blind of faith human being who does know the human beings in cloaks and what they speak at da. Because again, the only thing that I knew is I don't want to meet Lucifer. He seems really scary. I'm not afraid of hell because I know how I'm leading my life, God, my personal conversation. But those people, they protect people who hurt children. I don't like what happens to them in prison, but they hurt children and they're using their cloaks and they're using the book and they're using a lot of things. And I don't agree with that. That's not what you inform me of. You're not supposed to be a God that hurts children. You're supposed to be a God that protects children. Whenever I hear anyone who wants to use the evil God, yeah, I know what parents they had. That's all I'm going to say. And or parents. Because the minute that you're talking to me, a child of God, the way that these people with their books are, yes, you're only fooling nobody except for the poor human beings who do have shame and are feeling defective and will allow you to speak to them like that. And they will allow you to do that because they were spoken to like that. Here's one thing that I will share with you all. My lovely primary caregiver, who I love to death, she allowed me to be all my little 3-year-old self. So when it came time to start speaking my mind, and she didn't like some things, I'm like, well, you didn't spank me enough, so sorry, too sad. Yeah, this is who I am, and that's it. And that's how it kept moving forward. So one of the examples I gave you, secure attachment, restorative embodiment, integrated brain is the gift of the 5D Christ consciousness. I said, if I ever get married one day, and I won't be getting married because the church, I will respect that some of those, if they don't awaken to expand, they will not want somebody like me, and I will not want their blessing because they are not people who speak God. No, they're not giving a blessing of love. They're giving a blessing with books, and they have completely forgotten that they're supposed to be standing and bringing people together. And instead, again, conspiracies, don't give them to me, please, because I don't give a shit about that. I go vote when it comes to all the politics and governments, and there's a rabbit hole, and anybody who wants to fall into it, there's your 3D-4D with all of that little boxing glove that keeps their brain stupid because you don't understand how to use two sides and how groundedness means anything I say or don't say can be falsifiable. The only ones who come thinking they know all of it. So I'm empowered to spell out my truth, but I'm empowered to say, remember, it's food for thought, please, please. And if you get pissy in your pants, it's okay. I got implicit and explicit bias too. I just don't project it on screen. That's why the likes are not something of interest to the ones of us who are empowered. I mean, of course, the likes are great. They help the channel grow. The dislikes, not going to do much with that except for know that you didn't like something. That's great. You got to express your opinion. I'm happy that you got that off your chest. That's about it. And that's because I'm not doing let me share in a way that is with no reason. I'm here for people who want to be their self as a mentor, content creator, and to share stories of what empowerment looks like and not just sounds like. No, looks like. It's called I respect your opinion. And when you disrespect me, I'll know how to respect twice. Oh, and you won't notice anything. That's exactly why you won't have anything to do because I won't be in my sympathetic. I'll be in my ventrovagal. That's the person who doesn't give a shit that you just said, I don't like you. The only time it's personal, the only time it's heartbreaking is when you will have desire to stay in a relationship. But like I said in the previous ones, we don't lose people. I don't lose anyone. You're not a friend if you don't know how to continue being my friend. My facade friend taught me that. And that's because he has the same childhood wounds that any other person who disregards going to therapy will have. And it's called the teenagers who decide that they think they're badass and then they never grow up. And that's why my friend, like anybody else who's not actively empowering themselves with bilateral or vertical integration, because they're not doing mindfulness living or loving. Nope. They're doing evil wins, evil this, evil that. So again, empowered feminine reveal, surprise. I'm a healthy, self-worth, emotionally mature, and available person who knows love. And I am here to leave something behind for the future generations. No, I'm not here for the ones who don't want to become securely attached, not even remotely close. And yoga ain't going to do it. Because the minute you disregard your child part, you're just pretending yoga. I've seen him again. The spiritual Zen master who has laundry. Wow. I mean, he's not even old yet. Sadhguru, I love you, man. But the only reason Sadhguru became Sadhguru is because he was challenged by a 97-year-old man who beat him at swimming. That's not impressive to an empowered feminine. Because he only did what he did because he felt somebody beat him. Which means he has insecurity, which is the same shame Any distorted feminine and masculine, I'll spot it. Oh, that's your master. I see. You want to know who my master is? God. And I have conversations with God. And that's it. Oh, and I'm not planning to change that. Oh, and then obviously I do respect the laws. They're not my masters, but I will have to because I want to be a member of society and to make a difference. And also because ridiculous teenagers have stories for you, which is why they make all this visceral shit because they can't handle using their prefrontal. So whenever they're motivated, it's not even fun. Their modulated embodiment is stressing them out. They get tired. They make up shit of why to be able to forget what they did yesterday and then to take ownership of where they actively fell down and got into relationships with unhealthy people because they have childhood trauma that they continue to ignore as they have mystical powers or not. They have ancient human beings who are telling them about gender roles. It all depends which one of the ignorant human beings you want to get, but either or, they're not definitely going to be spreading the healthy self-worth that Jesus taught us. So every home comes with its different set of inner growth opportunities for you to connect to your spirituality and or that mindful whole self and gain or keep the internal secure attachment with an own sense of self. For those who awaken from spiritual narcolepsy from homes that didn't provide safety at heart, the journey is twofold. And I updated what I want to share with that one. Give me a second, because this is what I was thinking about. It's twofold, but just as straightforward as any one of us who will have had a whole self from the beginning. Okay, so I have a whole self. Those who don't, they have a separated self, but they will still have the same opportunity that I have always had, like you have. By the time you're an adolescent, now we're choosing our second alloparenting group. But the ones who have not securely attached have a problem, quote unquote. They don't own their self. They're codependent. They're going to mesh. They're going to not know what the fuck hit them when they're copying each other and doing shit that they're not proud of. That didn't happen to me because I took ownership of the things that I wasn't proud of. And I didn't say I'm not proud. I'm a little kid. I'm grown up. I was stupid is what I said. And like the grown-ups said, but I know better because now I learned and God and Jesus. And so it was a very straightforward conversation with the same modality that I was held. Terry Rio, come on in. As he points out, you hold yourself and your partner and or partners and or people the way you were held. But remember, personality makes a difference. My nervous system is in my body, and I have an attachment category, but I also have temperament, as Dr. Daniel Siegel's presented. So when you look at my twin and I, we have different personalities, because my PDP is going to be different than hers. And even if we both have secure attachment, and it's probably to each other besides our own alloparenting group at home, okay, we will still have been affected in the way that we think things through because we will have been affected in the way we're perceiving something. And that is why there's a difference even between identical twins. And so once again, every body has a master. That would be you, but you won't be a master yours if you only use the left. No. If you don't know how to use your right, you're like my facade friend, who basically I gave a huge important conversation to, and I find out that it meant nothing, which, I mean, it was like your arms fall down. I was like, what the fuck? And in my head, I'm thinking, and then I'm like, he doesn't even have awareness of how big of a deal this is. He thinks I'm making a big deal out of nothing. It's not nothing. At that moment was crucial and important because from that moment forth, any time this has taken place again, I thank my friend because that you only do one time. That's an empowered feminine because I'll remember the lesson. It's not a lesson because I'm being tested. No, you didn't hear me. And you don't care that you didn't hear me. And that's the not securely attached person who has a self-fulfilling prophecy and they don't give a shit about what you just said from the heart. They're not even there. They're just chit-chatting their brain away with whoever knows what bullshit. And there's my mask. Hey, what mask am I wearing? Oh, look, I'm this for that person. There you go. So once again, the people who awaken from spiritual narcolepsy with a different beginning, they get good therapy, right? They have the same straightforward opportunity as we do. It is to pursue being their own self with flaws and integrity. When I meet a person who has no integrity, I will know that they're distorted feminine and they're masculine. Because unfortunately, again, masculines bow down to their masters because that's what the left mode does in the absence of them owning their own opinion, and their own opinion isn't right or wrong. That's the empowered feminine. I have an opinion. I have a thought. It's called a differentiated self. So I can link and connect to another person while being in my ventral vagal state. The non-threatening response, yes. and the non-reactive one too, and have a good time. There's your integrity, and there's why it's not death do parts, sickness and in health. No, it's do I have a human being in front of me, or do I have a half a brain in front of me? And that means a teenager is going to follow the next person that makes it up there, and that when their leader falls, oh well, I wasn't following them to begin with, or so they switch it up, and they don't even switch it up in a way of saying, I thought that they had some cred, and that you can have a conversation, and also flexible, please. So we don't keep it black and white, which is also why you have fun with the grown-ups. So the distorted feminines who are masculines, and again, I'm going to keep switching it up, so don't create linear thought out of any of this, because it's not linear, it's a conceptual. When they're channeling guidance for each other, you can tell that it's coming from insecurely attached people. They have unhealthy self-soothing mechanisms. They have a superhero, supervillain story. They have someone that needs to get beat up or da-da-da. It's like watching a movie. Action. I love action. The good guys always win. Those are my favorites. And I still know the good guys and gals and days always win. Because God always wins. Because dark matter and dark energy, an asteroid. Oh, look, it's not coming. Thank goodness I'm still alive. I definitely know the moon landing. No, I definitely can't say that. 97% of what is out there is unavailable to the scientist, and I'm not a scientist. I'm a pseudoscience mystic lady. So there you go, which is why I'm pseudoscience for real, because I learned from the scientists, but I'm not joking about the channeled guidance part, and I'm not joking about the difference for the 5D community, because as I was saying, it's not something that I, in any way, shape, or form, don't believe in. But I will not cancel the sciences that are proving and showing me and sharing with me, FYI, that which God had already informed me of. Don't cast a stone, Maria. And I learned about that when I was a teenager, saying, you're bad, you do drugs, you're good. I was saying it with intent. And I said, that's okay, I won't say it anymore, but I'm not going to hang out with those people because they're unreliable. They all are unreliable. And so I am going to grow up again. I'm still a child here. But when I think of grown-ups who tease me about the drug thing, I just think it's hilarious. Number one, I still respect the laws and try my best to remember these things. But I also know, I know the law. If you're innocent, you're innocent. It's like my cousin Vinny. They can't build a case against you. Now, the people want to believe in the devil and evil and all that. They're going to keep on doing their thing because they'll say neuroscience, ha ha ha. Anybody has to believe in anything. So there you go. The women who get on screen and are mystics telling you that you've become badass now that you are empowered. So first we had the men telling you about all the women being all alone, and that's how they're going to get coherent. And then I got to see a series of women getting on screen saying, you're badass, you're badass. And no, wait for it though. This is what really I was like, wow. So one of them just got really into, I have the dark. So one, again, dark, light, please. As Sadhguru explains, darkness is what comes first. And if you learned about colors, yes, black, not white. White comes from black and all the rainbow. So I did an art class and more, okay? So just saying. And then secondary human consciousness. So darkness means, oh, look, I'm in the unknown of awareness. Mindfulness practitioner and mindset, and I just know my secondary consciousness because as a teenager I was like, hey Marcus, thank you so much, Marcus Aurelius, for the suggestion, because I really was waking up from darkness sad as hell. And I don't want to forget everyone. And then I got Claire's and I'm like, wow, I'm a mystic now. I'm anointed. No, I'm not anointed. That's so disrespectful. Oh my gosh, 4D, get away from me. We're special in a different way. No, we're not. You need to stop doing this. I'm not comparing myself to you. And that's the people who don't own their sense of self. And from their little visceral, they get into their little pissy pants when you are not taking their side, which is why I don't hang out with any insecure, envious, jealous, spiteful mystics. Not because they're dangerous, no, because at one point or another they're not going to like me anymore, because they're not actually going to get themselves healed. So they're going to struggle to accept that I'm not taking their side and saying, yes, we're anointed, we're special, because we're not. And I'm going to be reminding them, do you follow Jesus? Do you follow God? You do, right? Okay, so you're telling me you know about this. Great, awesome. So you do know about the squirrel from Cusco land, correct? No, let me point it out. Unhealthy self-worth, anxious and avoidant people, they manipulate their words in ways that are completely visible to a person like myself. So an empowered feminine is not going to say any of that in a person's face. My point is, low self-esteem human beings, they just want to be a part of the crowd, which is why when I see them cheering each other on, I'm like, wow, they're so cute. They have their relationship with the relational field and Akash and quantum field, and there's a lot more sciences that is looking into it. And there's an expert in the Akashic field, yes, and more. So here's what happens when you know Anima Mundi. Anyone? It's amazing. I love this. So I love my loved ones. They make fun of me, but they love me and they make fun of me in a good way. Meaning that they're not making fun of me because they don't love me. That makes sense to me. Hold on. I'm just thinking that people who love each other, they end up finding out about each other's lingo, so we can tease. Because obviously, I'm the woo-woo mystic; they are not, and I love that they know my terminology, though, because again, they love me, so they get to find out or they hear me with interest and stuff like that. Unlike my facade friend, who, in the years that I shared with him, the deepest, most interesting of my experiences with my oversoul and everything, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this is why when this happened to me again, it was a lot easier for me to say, okay, I forgot about when they're with their boys and when they're with their girls and when they're with their people. And my facade friend reminded me of that. Because as we're with a group of men and we're talking, from nowhere he comes out and says, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in Jesus, I don't believe whatever it was. And I'm like, okay, wow. So I stopped talking because I'm engaging with them, but they're all don't believe. A person of faith, you're not going to make them into believe. You don't prove spirituality to people. That's the point, which is also why we won't be having 3D-4D join us, because they're following the liars who are continuing with their non-bilaterally integrated brain. And yeah, they're liars because they haven't gotten to go to therapy yet. The minute you're protecting people who hurt people, I'm thinking you don't know how to do. I can bring it to business-wise. You're a stupid business owner because you are going to fail due to the fact that you have what is not positive within your institution. I can bring it to that way. I bring it to God's way. You're protecting people who hurt people. Stop using the medieval times in scripture to protect. There's no excuse. You excusing bad behavior tells me that you are making a justification. It's not about what I believe in or not. It's you're actively not taking accountability, ownership. I don't need to shame you about it. I can make an intellectual conversation about it, which is what I don't see people doing very much to the human beings. And then we have the conspiracy ones who say that they're just trying to keep us in control. So, I mean, either way, does it really matter? No, we're having a conversation here of why a channeled guidance and messages and a mystic from the 5D plane, empowered feminine, won't be reading to you in a way of let me give you superiority, let me put you on a pedestal, because that's not how it works. The soul of the world epitomizes the principle accept all, reject none. And it is a shared consciousness. Okay, so that's why we bring it all. They don't like that we have melting pots. Anybody remember how people still don't like melting pots? Yeah, I've met them. So there's people who are against melting pots. It's called they identify with a lot of words and then they get all rigid. And that's your distorted feminines, because they don't have a 0-1-year-old that they own. And they don't have a brain that they own because they're not bilaterally integrated. And that's why they won't really enjoy any of us, because we'll be very formal. No, we won't. We'll be like, okay, I respect. They will know that inside of us, we don't believe one word that's coming out of their mouth. And in the meantime, we won't be doing anything different than what we already know how to do, because again, eventual vagal state is what stays in town. So channeled guidance, I'll tell you what I'm reading. I'll tell you what I'm finding. I'll tell it all, but I also won't appease or please your ego in any way, shape, or form. And I won't make you out to be a badass so that you can go around beating people up or be on screen or do whatever it is that, again, anyone who is distorted is going to do. So the non-bilaterally integrated person and the non-vertically integrated person and the not restorative embodied person are all the people who don't know Anima Mundi yet. And they will not be flocking to any of the 5D state of consciousness human beings, sciences, or spirituality. In fact, they will always use the same excuse that I've been hearing: Luciferian era, Lucifer, demons this, demons that, liars, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, look, they're channeling wrong. Let me go correct them. So you find teenagers in every corner of YouTube. In the meantime, on our lovely Jesus Day and Christmas Day, we're going to end with all you need is love. Dun, 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 dun. All you need is love, love. Love is all you need. So my facade friend, who I love to death, thanks to him, I don't try saying anything to anybody who I spot. Oh, look, there's another flag. High five, flag. You awesome. Yeah, you know, I don't do any of that either. That would be excessive and unnecessary. So the fancy lady in a suit, being non-reactive is dangerous. No, it's not. It gets us out of every single unnecessary conversation, like with my facade friend. We get in the car, I chew him out, I'm yelling at him, and I'm saying, you wasted my time, your time, and you had me sharing things from my mystic journey that you don't even believe in, which means you completely don't. I said, you know what? I won't be talking to you about any of this stuff anymore because I respect our time together. And that is all. So you don't take offense when people are not of God, of Jesus, of faith. You accept, understand, and you don't make it your mission to have people believe. That's not how spirituality works. And luckily we have a bigger community of the melting pot than I am even aware of because, you know, it's a small world after all. I don't know all the smart human beings out there. So, you know, let's keep it together. Let's get together, join the IHP community, 5D collective. Oh, it's upside down, even though, you know, upside down and downside up is really fun. So teachable people, the power of community. We come together, and sciences and spirituality share with us the same thing. There's kindness and heart in every one of us. As Pacha tells Cusco, I know that there's someone in there. Not everybody wants to be their child part, and that's asleep so that they can be their grown-ups. And that's because they're afraid of love. And that's okay. We don't have to make any scaredy cat come and be anything. But when I see a woman on screen telling you about the next step, we're empresses and we're going to find. And so she's spelling out a man. In her case, it's a man that's going to do everything she wants him to do. That makes me think of an attachment coach that I saw who is also with Jesus and God. And she also shares something similar. Hers was way more manipulative. I can teach you how to make. I'm like, wow, okay, no, you know what? Again, maybe you all don't understand what love is supposed to involve. It's called free will, not manipulation. Any manipulative tactic tells me you're a coward. And now that I'm grown up, you don't own your inner world. So please, before you go anywhere and talk about love to me, get out of your visceral, get securely attached, at least this person here. You don't have to be a mystic, but you're going to be a person who says, I will tell you to your face what I think, what I feel, all of it. Oh, and I won't hold any of it back. And the minute you don't know how to talk to me, it's okay. I've met plenty of Cuscos, and thankfully I've been kept far, far, far away from any of the ones who I thought, see, this is the part you do overestimate. As an empowered feminine, I overestimated every single one of my oversoul's masculines. You know why? Well, it's a sad story. Again, masculines have a distorted feminine, so they follow a leader. Bow down to your next master. And I cannot look at anybody that has a master that is not their own two sides of their brain and their own heart and their own gut and say, okay, you know what? I was taught by women how to handle men, and I completely disregarded and disagreed with that because I will not be treating you like you're a stupid idiot, and I will not be disrespecting you and lie to you or manipulate you. I will tell you, and if you don't like me, it's okay. I'm going to accept that. Thank you. But I will not do any of manipulation. This is wrong. And it's also not what love is based on. Also, it means that I don't believe that you can make it. And that's the very part about why I shared a feminine, an empowered one, respects free will, because it's called, I will believe that you can talk to me, your opinion, and your heart. And today, as a grown-up, people who don't know how to do this are all people like my facade friend who allowed me to speak his head off of things that he had no interest in, and that it wasn't anything bad. He wasted our time together, special moments, and then he also disrespected me. Because it's better to tell me, I think it's stupid and woo-woo, because I will respect that. And then we'll talk about things that we are of interest in. But I will also know that if you respect me and you're not a mystic, that you're smart enough to know that you don't know what it's like. So you would be a two-side of a brain person who knows. I wouldn't ever say it's not real 100% because I don't have the experience, which is what smart scientists, FYI, and any smart person The reality is they don't have to have faith. If they do, then they know who we are because that's the part we share spirituality. If they don't, it's okay. The respectful ones will talk to us in a way of that's not something I experience, and that's how it works. And the wiggle room ones, they'll just say it's woo-woo. That's okay too. Pseudoscience, woo-woo, all of these words are not in any way, shape, or form offensive when you have empowered feminines. The distorted ones make themselves look badass, and then they use the dark sides of all of it and say, this is my shadow part, and it's good to get it out, like the lady in a screen. It's not safe. It's not good to show no emotion. Well, keep being your teenager. Have fun, Cuscos. Have fun, squirrels. And again, the reason they don't know love is not because they don't have the capacity to use the word. They don't know love because they're using their visceral, and they're not using an open heart. They're using a broken one that feels helpless and hopeless, and that's their 0-1-year-old who wants someone. Great. Get healthy. Love yourself first. You're going to have a good time. You're not going to date people that treat you like shit. You're not going to treat yourself like shit. You're not going to do a lot of things that are unnecessary. I saw people in college continue to do this. As I'm older, people continue to do this. They all refuse the one thing that would help them: therapy. All of them. Because the ones who are mystics, they just think their superhero powers makes them superheroes, which they're not. And again, they can have a relationship because we're all part of Akash. We all can have a relationship with channeling and downloading. And again, the scientists, they talk to you about our clairs, besides them being clairs and spiritual gifts. And when you put it all in the melting pot, it's not a bad thing, the shared consciousness. No, it's a good thing. Consilience approach is what I bring to you, because two sides of a brain that is also vertically integrated is great. That's the mindfully living, loving people. Come on over. And last note, when you meet anyone, if you have a good gut, you're going to always know if you need to get up and leave for physical safety. And with a good gut, you're also always going to just engage with anyone and never hear this passive-aggressive tone, because a 3-year-old becomes just a 3-year-old. I'm going to do soon enough to be saluted. And anybody who gets in your face, you know you want it, give it to him. Okay. I didn't feel it. In these two cases, one, I'm like, oh shit, now I have to... no, not decent. Just, the other one, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. But he's my friend. And he leaves. And there goes the little 3-year-old with a 16-year-old. Okay, and that's it. And we're as cute as can be. The last time I got to interact with this one friend, he's like, you don't want to introduce me. You're ashamed of me. I said, of course I'm not. And this is the same friend who nobody said you can swipe a kiss. No, you can't. Nobody said that. But I left him alone because he was a little buzzed and he was a little vulnerable. And I'm like, okay, must be because I rejected him that he felt that he could do this. I'm not really sure, but I'm just going to leave it alone and allow him to... So when the future, no, it was a year after. So he's doing this thing of, you're embarrassed. I said, no, I'm not. Come with me and let me introduce you. And he was as happy as can be. The 3D-4D, they're not a threat. They're just not going to be channeling to you the 5D way. Also, oh, by the way, it is consolidated. People who are 4D, they're locking in and loading in it. I will have more on that, but not necessary for our community. However, yeah, it's fascinating to meet people who don't lead their life like from their own sense of self in a grown-up way. That's what I mean. So once you have committed to your facade, now I get to meet you, and you're just going to be your facade. And I'm going to have a good time, and you're going to have a good time. Oh, and people who don't have access to their right brain, they really don't know what's going on inside of you anyways. Not to mention that they make up bullshit without sharing it to you, because that's what teenagers do. So again, when you have not securely attached human being, they don't have the capacity, the balls or the vaginas, the balls, again, to tell you what they're thinking. But they have fun telling it to themselves and then going around and telling it to others perhaps, and that's why we don't find it offensive when our friends come back around and we find out that they've gossiped about us and they tell us in our face. Actually, I always am mesmerized by the fact that they don't notice they're doing it. Then the last time it happened, I'm like, wow, okay, I need to remember this one, because they were saying that I was wrong, that their friend was right, and nowhere did I hear the word incarceration. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure I didn't fuck up with words this time. But because I'm always going to double check, I go to my smart sources and I say, excuse me, to my linear brain people, because they're the smart ones for me, because I don't know how to do that. And they're in society, so they know how society works in a better way than I do. I really don't have this capacity to always keep it in mind. So I say, excuse me, to one of my linear people. Does this word judgment mean incarceration? Maybe did I use it wrong? Can you tell me? No, you used it fine. And I described the situation and they said, no, sometimes, Maria, you're just with ignorant people. And they were feeling that they are ashamed of themselves since they had been gossiping and judging people the entire night. So that's what happens when people are teenagers, like my facade friend, who when he's writing me, are you happy now? Yeah, so they don't know how to take ownership. They just know how to project what is a Cusco behavior, which to me is nothing more than somebody who's insecure, which is why I don't take it personally. I got a little teenager in the room. They have no flag, met them before. They don't know how to stand up. I'm 4'9". I physically can't do anything. My linear brain doesn't work to regurgitate material the way that they would be able to understand me, and I really don't want to waste my time with them. And actually, you know what? This is protection for me, and that's a side note, but that's where I always look at how God, Spirit, all... When I'm a teenager, I'm thinking, wow, I wish I could take information the way these people do and have a really nice interaction. No. Today I know why I've been saved from wasting my time with human beings who are not bilaterally integrated. They don't care about what we're talking about in the first place. They're all small egos, and I don't care to be with stupid people because I actually care about the information I learn, which is why when in my classes I got ignorant human beings interrupting, I'm like, dude, this is not about you. This is about the information, and the expert is talking. Shut up. Lead your own classroom. I don't know, sell your own course. Why am I listening to you? And that's how it feels when you're a brain that wants to learn. You're not there because you need a proven agenda. You're there to hear. And when we don't like some of the stuff we hear, we still hear it because, again, we know how to listen and share the floor, and we're not experts, so we don't know everything. We also know that. So sometimes I'll be in a class, and I'm like, okay, pay attention, be mindful, come on, you're going to miss out on some of this. And other times, like, okay, but this one really, I don't need this. This is all cheerleader squad. But you do say, no, be nice, listen, because, again, so an empowered feminine will not be using, I have a light side and a dark side, and doing the whole unapologetically rude, and I learned how to be strong by myself. No, you learn how to pretend to be strong by yourself and keep a armored-in vessel in due temporal junction, rumination like the Zen master who doesn't own the title because he deserves it. He just got it because, No, they're not giving it away to everyone. That's another lame-ass 4D comment. No. No. It's not that. We just have a lot of spiritual bypassers and spiritual egos because they have not securely attached their 0-1-year-olds because they don't want to go to Patrick Tiahan because they don't believe in therapy. And they don't believe in sticking around, like Dr. Daniel Fox says, for the long run. So when you meet people who are Cuscos, give them a high five, and that's about it. They won't be our life partners. They can't. They don't know how to physically commit with an open heart consistently, which means they don't know how to bring this forth. Like my facade friend, I've met many more. And again, the tells, this is why, the tells are clear. He has helped me so much. So when I am spotting the tells, this is called an explicit memory. I'm brought back to him as the image of the person who taught it to me, and then I'm brought back to the tone that I recognize from him and them, and I'm like, okay, this is what it is. Then I recalibrate to know what I'm dealing with, which is a facade. So it's a person who's going to come in and out, change their mind, do this, do that, not take ownership, the usual stuff. And that's where channeled guidance for people who are 4D, 3D gives them the opportunity to talk about people like pieces of shit and to think that they're better than other people. Oh, and that they are going to find the person who's going to be exactly what they want them to be. And then you're going to see them say this: I'm an empowered woman, and my life, or man, but I've seen the women, and as a woman, I'm talking about the empowered feminine as a woman. So, and they're not empowered. My life is devoted to one human being, and it's hard to keep a relationship. And I'm like, yeah, no, that ain't what love is. That's totally not hard. But I do know that you have your secure attachment figure. So I'm happy for you. Applause, applause. I hope you learn how to become emotionally independent because, well, asteroid, please don't hit us. And I really do think if you do love, I know I will not want any human being that I am in love with, meaning that you're my life partner or partners, I don't want you to miss me one day. No. You're going to have a busy schedule. You're going to have pretty things, fun things. You're going to be independent, not because you don't love me, no, because you're emotionally mature, available to your own self. All your child parts, your brain, you're using it, your mind, you are using your body, you are a person who's healthy. That's where inner well-being is at, and outer well-being is with an integrated brain and a restorative embodiment self, and it's a securely attached person, and all the good, smart therapists are speaking about it, and I got to begin my journey in one way, and with God, Jesus, again, and Holy Spirit, and then I became also mystic, who, as a 5D mystic, Christian, Catholic, Enlightenment Soul Age Group functional adult, I know all about the ones who don't like us. Let's applaud and thank them for their service. They are supporting the ones who won't go to therapy because trauma charges are really that painful. So, again, no excuse. No, we won't demonize. We won't romanticize. We'll bring on in Robert Sapolsky. No free will. So, everybody needs to have a crowd. I mean, the flat earthers, what would they do without their group? And there's this other dude, a science person, who says everyone's going to need a silverback. No, not the ones of us who are independent thinkers. Only the ones who are not securely attached within themselves. And we spot them. They're beautiful as they follow each other around. And yeah, so we'll be back with more again. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and like, share, and subscribe, and do share with any empowered feminines and empowered masculines. Because the masculines, when they have an empowered feminine, they're empowered too. It's awesome to have them. It's awesome to be a mixed group. We're from all over the places, okay? Remember this, and we'll be back.